Bussin'.
Welcome to this.podcast, the dopest experience in Denver. I'm your friendly host, Jay, joined by my brother and friends. We got Mike.
You ready to boogie with that bear?
We got Co.
Man, what we talking about?
And we got Uncle Damo.
Hi, my name is Uncle Damo.
Boy, heart was in his stomach.
It was. We want to give a special shout out to the Lawrence and Larimer establishment. You can find them on lawrenceandlarimer.com, or you can come to the brick and mortar at 3225 East Colfax Avenue. You heard? And come get some dope swag. A lifestyle here. That's what we promote. It's a lifestyle, JC. Thank you for the love, man. I appreciate it. Today, we got a special guest, owner of the Unpopular Black Adventure Company and host of the We Been Out Here podcast. And when we talk about somebody that be outside, we say we outside. No, this woman is for real outside.
Yeah, you got the club.
We want to give a special shout out and welcome to Courtney Tomiko Lanctot in the building. We're so excited to have you. This kind of happened organically because you're stopping in town for a quick adventure for yourself that you're going to be conducting up in Steamboat. So thanks for coming out. We appreciate it.
Oh, my God. My pleasure. Like, this is, I love when things just work out, right?
Yeah.
Organically, no effort. It's just like,
it was lovely.
We're here with the flow.
Yeah, because you, we started following you, and I've been following you for a while, not to sound as stalkish, but you've been doing dope things.
Stranger danger.
You know, absolutely.
How does that feel when somebody says they've been following
Stranger
you for a while?
danger.
You know what's always really interesting? So someone being like, oh, my God, you do the Unpopular Black.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's got to feel good.
It feels so cool to know that, like, what I'm doing matters. And that it's inspiring folks, and that they recognize it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right. Because that's hard work paid off, right?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Dude, it's really cool to be like, oh, you're her. Oh, am I her?
But
Who's her?
back to Courtney's original question, like, because I'm sure you get a lot of DMs, and all of them aren't favorable, I would say. So how do you navigate that? Like all the fuck shit that comes into your
honestly, guys,
box.
I think that I set a good precedence on my like when I post that I'm not to be fucked with, because I don't get inappropriate things to my inbox.
Really?
Yeah, I do not. It is very
That's
rare.
awesome.
But also on my personal page, like on Tater Tot, I'm more likely to get inappropriate things on there. And even when I do, I am also very quick to, handle it and say, this is very inappropriate. Do not come at me. Boundary. But if they proceed, or I feel like it is something to be taken and used as an example, I will screenshot it without the name and stuff.
And
be like,
repost?
this is not appropriate.
On your story.
Do not come at me. I will cut you.
That's a great question.
I like that.
Is it the story or is it
It's a
the
story.
feed?
It's a story.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
It's a story.
Yeah.
I mean, I live in my stories. Like, I don't, especially on my personal page, I hardly.
So you hardly post.
So Jay, do we live in the story or do we live in the feed? Like right now, are we in the story or are we in the feed?
That's a good question. I think we're in the story
Yeah,
right now.
we're like story.
We're story worthy.
Yeah.
We're not feed worthy yet.
Yeah.
But that's okay. We'll work our way up.
We'll work on it.
Okay, so here's my hard part. My personal page is, like, I want to start integrating on my posts, like, friends and, like, everyday things.
Mm-hmm.
But I overthink where to begin with it.
So you're trying to keep those two separate, right? Your business and then things you do personally.
Well, yeah. I mean, but I would say that this is personal. Like, obviously, we're going to talk about business, but I would say that this is personal.
Yep.
Like, I'm very much enjoying this. This is personal for me.
Well, I think what Damo's trying to say is, like, if we make it to your personal feed, I think that's an accomplishment.
You know what's going to depend on?
What is that?
How good that picture was.
Whoa.
Oh, that matters. That matters.
Ooh, I like that.
That
I
matters.
like that.
That matters.
But we pull out
This is
we
too
pull out clips too. Like there's some clips because you're gonna drop some dimes today.
Absolutely.
And we would love to live on the feed and not the story. We would rather last more than a day.
Like, yeah, I had a good time. It was a great experience.
I
and then it
passed
kinda
through
just
Denver
fades.
for a
Yeah,
day.
it goes away.
Bye, Felicia.
You know what? Actually, time out. So, like, I mean, it's been on my radar since, probably since, oh my gosh, Vibes in the Park. Shout out to Vibes in the Park. How much Black community has really been showing up and show out. Also, obviously, shout out to Lawrence and Larimer. They have been around for years.
This podcast, bussin'.
But, you know, through going through this podcast feed and posts, I was like, wow, Black folks are really showing up together.
This.podcast.
Word.
This.podcast.
Word.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Podcast,
This.podcast.
bussin'.
It all works when you say this dot pod. Like
I'm
it's all
teasing.
But
this.
I'm so
But
impressed by the community. And so, you know, there are so many structural organizations and businesses versus, you know, I feel like previously it was very, you know, casual.
And siloed.
Absolutely.
So this will definitely make the permanent posts out of I feel grateful to be a part of this.
Bussin'.
Thank you. Well, we're happy that you are here and spending time because you could be doing something else with your time. So the fact that you're here, we're just elated about that. So real quick, talking about a little bit of your history, and we'll have fun with it. You're originally from Alaska, then moved out here to Colorado for about 10 years, enjoying the outdoors and everything like that. I'm going to throw out a couple names for you because these are probably the only Black people that we know that are from Alaska or had made stomping grounds in Alaska.
I can't wait for this.
Are you familiar of Trajan Langdon?
Yes, I'm familiar. So he used to go to my high school. Wait, yes.
Wow.
No. Yes.
Okay. So he's way before your time.
Way
but
before my time.
We're-
Absolutely.
Same high school though.
Where? What high
Bartlett.
What?
Bartlett High School, Anchorage, Alaska.
Oh, okay, got it, in Alaska.
Do you know who Trajan Langdon is?
No.
We know
Sharp shooter.
from
He's a
what
great
college?
basketball player.
Nice.
Went to Duke.
But
Tell him about
but
him.
was he really that good?
No, he was
At
great.
Duke, he was.
Oh, he was the man.
High school
phenomenal.
He
All-American.
was
the
the man,
man.
but like what happened?
After
Right.
Duke,
He
he got
got to
That's the only question I asked. So continue. I'm sorry.
Damn, why you go for
Dang,
him?
he just yeah.
No.
Alaska in the building,
Like,
and
he
he
was
just
like, he was like,
he was-
pause on
he
him.
he
and,
just
like,
mad 'cause
what
he
has
didn't know.
done?
I was a
He
great
didn't know.
college player,
Yeah.
but as a pro,
He-
I was freaking
Yo.
zero.
Oh, you were
can't,
not
like,
on
hate
Trajan
y'all.
Langdon's
That
level,
was-
if that's
that
what
was
you
serious.
saying. Because he
Yeah.
was in the league for a while.
I think he won a.
He was?
No, he played.
Yeah.
No, they lost to UConn. Rip Hamilton in them.
Yeah.
Otherwise, he have a
I mean,
title.
Dude, you have a
he
great
went
memory.
pro for a few years.
Yeah, he played.
No,
pro.
no, he
he's
was-
like a player.
A journeyman.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll say
but
that.
like right now, he's like I can't remember the team. He's like a player personnel guy
Okay.
somewhere in
Yeah.
the league. I can't.
Shout out
remember
to
where.
him.
I honestly literally don't even know what he looks like.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
Next one, I think you'll know this. Carlos Boozer.
Yes.
Baller.
Is he like legend in Alaska?
No.
Well, he's not.
He's not.
I think they went
He's
to the same high
from-
school, right? Yeah. So
Okay.
apparently, there's only one high
Well,
school.
so
in Alaska.
Is that where all the Black
no,
people
it's
go?
Not.
In
Well,
Anchorage.
okay, so
No,
so
no, for real,
technically-
tell us.
Technically, so first off, actually, let me back up. Anchorage is like parts of Anchorage, to be clear. The part that I grew up in, because it was closer to the Air Force and Army Joint Base, was wildly diverse, and
it.
also was the East Side. So it was like
You
also
said
like,
East Side?
It was the East Side.
Whoa.
So it was like
Wow.
you
In
know.
Alaska?
So it was
That's
very,
so
it was very
This
black,
podcast,
brown.
bussin'.
There is like an insane amount of Polynesian and Pacific Islander
Nice.
in Anchorage.
Wow.
Like it's so. I went to the gym the other day and was like, "There is not a white person in here."
What?
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I need to
it's
go.
so black and brown. It's this summer I went out and took a video, and there was like barely any white folks in the audience.
That's interesting. So,
Yeah.
In Alaska.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
so to
shook.
just build on that, does that? So I imagine populated area, like as
So
far
Anchorage
as
is the biggest city.
right.
Yeah.
Do you have the effects of, I guess, gentrification out there because it is a city and it's like, hey, we're trying to displace or
Well, okay,
we
so
want to build that part of the
Anchorage
community?
is so old. I was actually I was riding with my high school best friend to the airport. She took me a ride. She gave me a ride to the airport, and we were talking about. So Alaska is incredibly beautiful, right? Insane. Anchorage is ugly as fuck.
Really?
Like
Really?
Like New York ugly?
No, like they built the buildings in like the 70s, 60s, and 70s, and like they're
No
just
upkeep
there.
or-
Yeah, like it's
Oh,
not like the city isn't really pretty.
Wow.
But it's because like you see the buildings, and almost everywhere you look, the mountains are just like towering over the buildings. So you're surrounded in this beauty, but
You forget about
the
everything
buildings
else.
are ugly. So like I'll be like, oh my god, the mountains look gorgeous, and I'm like in the city, and I'll go to like record, and I'm like,
Get
that
this
looks
ugly
so
ass-
fucking ugly.
Right there. It's just like
Yeah,
this ugly
like
building.
it's just ugh. And I'm like, to me, because I'm so used to it, I don't know how anyone else would feel, but it takes away from the beauty of the mountains, and it just looks nasty.
Is it because the culture there is like, yo, we outside anyway, so we don't we're not really worried
We
about like
outside.
buildings and things like that.
Nah,
Like we
so,
enjoy
like-
the outdoors.
No, so a lot of folks who live in Alaska don't necessarily do Alaskan shit. Like, yeah, but so tourism is one of the main things in Alaska, right? Tourism
Right.
in the summertime, a little bit in the winter, but mostly in the summertime. And so they don't like Anchorage doesn't have to be pretty because people are still gonna come. Like it's not gonna stop anyone.
Yep.
People aren't gonna be and like even in like the hotels and stuff, like the furniture's outdated. Like everything just looks like the last time they updated it was possibly in the 80s or 90s. But they don't have to be pretty because you're gonna come, and they can still charge $500 a room.
What's the biggest draw? In terms of
In
tourism?
Acreage?
Is it fishing?
Hey, them salmons,
Is it
them
fishing?
salmons, and them
No.
scrimps, and them
Well,
lobsters.
Honestly, I think really just the tourism. So like
Yeah.
so one of the most popular tourism, I don't want to say traps, but we'll say traps for time's sake. People will take a ferry / cruise from Seattle. And it stops in Juneau in the summertime, and then Juneau's the capital, and then it'll make its way to Anchorage, and it's like a 7-day cruise. The whale watching, the wildlife, the glaciers that you'll see along the way are just
beautiful.
incredible. Juneau and a lot of the areas on the southeast side is actually categorized as a rainforest.
Really?
Really?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
So
Wow.
it's actually
knew that.
rainforest.
You knew that?
I did.
Yeah.
Oh, nice, man.
So, like for instance, there's a national park that actually I just found out about through Instagram like last year called Katmai. It's one of those that you have to get to by plane or boat.
Oh wow.
And it has like the biggest population of like brown bear, but it's a rainforest. On your list of famous folks from Alaska might be Damon Bell. He's from Heidelberg, which is he's half indigenous, half black. He's an activist.
Is that the one that took you backpacking in the Arctic Circle?
No.
Okay.
No. That's Chad Brown. So
Got it.
Damon is he don't be doing all that.
Okay, fair enough.
But so Heidelberg is like on that peninsula, and it's very much rainforest.
Got it.
Has
No.
no idea.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So more about you and the the amazing things that you do. Right now, you're in the middle of, let me call it expressing yourself and being very adventurous, more than normal. And you can correct me if I'm wrong, but you're like on this nomad kind of adventure where I imagine, you're not the typical like, go out, do adventure, come back home. It's like modern life. Like you're out
Right.
there. You're out there
Right.
for weeks, for months. Tell us. So the fellas had a question because you like to express yourself in every sense of the word.
What do you mean by express myself?
I'm getting to it.
Okay.
Like your sexuality. And what I mean by that is just like, you know, every now and then the woman body, and you'll have some not
Jess,
necessarily nudes.
Let's be straight up.
But
Please be straight.
What's
Tell
up
us.
with the butt cheeks in the wilderness?
Thank you. Let's
and
do
who's
that.
taking the picture though? That was
tripod
the,
everything.
Okay.
Tripod
got it.
everything. I'm
That's
almost
dope.
always
That
solo.
was the question, though.
Yeah.
That was the question.
Took
Yeah,
the picture.
tripod everything.
Yeah.
I'm almost always solo. I've to be clear, I've never adventured with any version of a boo.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? It's
Yeah.
always been solo.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
So-
dangerous in the wilderness
Well,
with
no,
all them
so-
black
A lot of
bears.
people.
Yeah.
A lot of people do that. A lot of
So
people that go
the way
camping
that
do it.
actually, hold on, let me go back to the nudity and your comment on sexuality.
Yeah.
So on my personal page, I try to talk a lot about desexualizing bodies and, you know, and especially nudity, right? Like,
Right.
so I hit puberty or developed young, right? I was like kindergarten or first grade, and someone was already commenting on me stuffing my bra.
What?
Wow.
I literally had no idea what that meant, but that is still a memory that sticks in my brain of someone commenting on my body
Wow.
related to how it affects them.
Wow.
And so for me, as a black woman, who, like, I love my body, and also it's a good body. So,
This podcast.
No,
There you go.
absolutely.
Flex,
looks
man.
good
Flex.
money.
No, absolutely.
Flex.
But like the way that our society says whatever version of modesty you portray is whatever version of sexuality that you are putting yourself out there to be. And so for me, I want to do better at letting people know that, like, bitch, this is my body. I'm not out here to be sexy or sexualizing my body, right? Which I know that, especially on things like social media, Instagram, where a lot of women do, you know, use their body for sexualization. I want to bring awareness to, like, this is also just a body.
Is it freeing for you to take those kind of pictures, especially in the locations you take them at?
It's a great question.
Look, there is something, shout out to my podcast. We've been out here because Ebony, well, I think like 2 episodes back, Ebony and I talk about being naked in nature. And there's a level of freedom. Like, in our society, it is deemed inappropriate to show your naked parts that have not been okay. You know, I mean, for men, you can, you know, go shirtless. But it's inappropriate to be nude outside. It's inappropriate to scream at the top of your lungs. The things that our society has deemed inappropriate, that is often really just an extension of your truest self, or expression of your truest self, is absolutely wild.
It makes you think of your kids, though, right? Like, your kids are like truly their truest self.
Yeah.
Like, my daughter right now can walk out the door butt ass naked.
Butt
And she be
naked.
and
happy.
will scream at the top of her lungs and won't give a damn who looking
So-
at her.
And as her parent, what do?
But yeah.
You tell her,
No.
You don't get your ass
No.
down.
Nope.
I don't do that.
I don't do a
do that.
damn thing.
oh,
I don't
see?
either.
No.
I do.
No. So I know you have a question. My daughter, she walks in from school every day. The first thing she does is like take off all her clothes.
Same, sis.
Hey, and she's so I have three daughters.
She goes out to the front yard.
No, she strips down. She's in her little halter top and her little boy shorts, and she's like, or even if they're not boy shorts, she's like, I'm stripping down and I'm hanging out,
Absolutely.
That's
and I'm
different.
watching YouTube.
That's different from being naked, though, right?
No,
No?
Honestly, though, like,
Damien, you just said that you're okay with your daughter taking off all her clothes in the front yard.
what's the,
And just being free.
And then you just said a halter top and she has shorts on.
no? It's different.
But I'm just
So-
being technical. I hear what you're
So
saying.
being
bringing
technical too,
it back, what what these children and you are getting to is something primal.
Yes.
Well, yes, but also so like being in. Okay, this is like wildly a lot. So I apologize for the graphicness of this, but there's one point where I was in my living room and I really just be naked, and I think I was just like working, or I don't know what I was doing, but my windows are like
open.
open. Well, like not open. I mean, blinds
Yeah,
open,
yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
Sun bright as hell. All of a sudden, I was like, "Why is my vagina so hot?" And I was like, "Oh my god, the sun is like the sun was like shining on it." And I was like,
You might have want to call Tyrone. That's what you wanted to do.
Ooh, boy, the sun is highlighting me.
The golden hour.
The golden hour.
That golden
Sauce.
hour.
It just wasn't the sun. It just wasn't the sun.
You said the golden hour.
well, and I realized like my vagina has never literally been bare to
Right, yeah.
to daylight to
To the normal elements, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And so, and then through conversation with Ebony or whatever, I later then started like exploring what does that feel like to be naked in nature, and it's like a level of freedom,
Yeah.
that like, I mean, it's very weird and it feels very uncomfortable at first. But then, like, once you start doing it and, like, really get used to it, you're just like, society is fucked up.
Men
That's
will
crazy.
never be able to connect with what you just said.
Why is that?
Why'd you
No.
say that?
All right, so you want me to go there?
Please go there.
Yeah.
I mean,
All
I
right,
wouldn't.
so
before you do, I wouldn't have a problem. I mean, I wouldn't have a problem being naked in nature like that.
Oh,
But
you
what do
would. So
Why
it's
would
funny.
you?
So
I
like
would.
we had a great time. One of the famous quotes on this.podcast is when Lindell was on here and had the pants
Had his
cut
knees
up,
out.
and
Ooh, I
Saw
love
said
men's knees.
knees out, dick out. Right?
Oh.
No, that's what Courtney said. But like,
Where are you going, man? Where are you going? Go to it.
Listen. But when she says, "Hey, I was out in nature or in my house and my vajayjay had freedom."
Timestamp. Yeah, absolutely. I'm
Is
with
that
you.
what she said or no?
Absolutely.
No. And then everybody wants to get quiet when she starts talking about.
Well, we
We want to listen. So, but get to your point. Why do you think guys won't be able to relate to nature as Courtney just elegantly
Because
described?
guys are
I would
freaking
love-
savages, dude.
I would love for the sun to
Oh, you
be
mean?
right on my dick
Wait.
out.
So
Okay.
do you?
No, you would. No, that's
A
cool,
lot
but
of guys
you're
would.
not listening to what she's saying.
Yes, we
Are
would.
You're
you
listening at the
saying-
surface.
Are you saying that men wouldn't be able to do that with a woman present?
No, men by themselves, men by themselves versus women by
So
themselves.
I challenge that, and let's be clear here,
I would too.
because time out. What I've noticed, because I'm a very avid hot springs person,
Sure.
natural hot springs person, and so the natural hot springs that are not commercial are often clothing optional.
Yes.
The amount of times that I've walked up to a man with his balls out, who is white, or I've also walked up to a Hispanic man, and his balls are just out. And there's a level of etiquette regarding natural hot springs. Is that like you just act like it's normal?
Act like. That's the problem. And I respect where you're coming from, 100%. But at the end of the day, society doesn't accept that. And I'm with you. Like, we should accept that.
Right.
Well, so that's two different arguments. I do agree with you that society would look at a man like what you just described for yourself is liberating, and you're being natural, right? I think if a guy was to do that, you might get some pushback.
And the guys are like, "Oh yeah,
People
this
do
is
not
what
like
I did in the
balls.
sun. It was fun."
Well, no, you're talking about society and how they would take it if I was out there naked in
but
the
also
wilderness.
society would not take me if I was to just walk around naked. They would also be like, "Bitch,
especially
what are you
for
doing?"
especially for a black man. Like I think
I'm sorry.
us,
like,
we would
Jay,
probably get
I'm sorry.
ostracized.
I might have missed the point, but one of the things that you said, I sat in my house and the sun was in a certain angle and it made me happy.
Time out. No.
No. She said it
was
got
just-
hot.
It got
hot. Like
That's what the sun does.
Yeah, hot
But
made me happy.
I
whatever.
didn't. Time out.
No, like
You're putting words in my mouth. I did not say
Yes.
happy. I said it made me realize that I never had sun on my vagina.
Yeah, because
So it-
because
so it-
clothes
it
are
was-
mandatory.
it was an
did it make you
awareness.
happy?
Yeah, yeah.
It's an
No,
awareness.
it was an awareness. It wasn't.
I'm sorry, awareness.
It was an awareness.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right,
It wasn't like, oh my God, I'm so happy. It was like, oh my God, I've never experienced this.
I
So-
apologize. No,
It's breaking.
Excuse
It's
me.
breaking
No,
away
no,
from the
excuse me,
status
dude.
quo.
No, excuse
in
me.
terms of
Let him
being
go.
required to wear
Excuse
clothes.
me, dude. Excuse me. And I want to apologize because that's not what I heard. So when you experience this, it's like, no, it didn't necessarily make you happy, but it made you feel like liberated. Is that the word?
In my living room or in general when I do it out in nature?
No. At that moment in your living room.
I wouldn't even say liberated. It just it brought an awareness of I didn't realize I was missing this.
Got it. And men don't have those moments.
Speak for yourself. Have you ever
Man,
went
no.
through it?
Dude, like,
If you never went
so
through
have
it, then
you
how did you
have
know?
you ever had sun shine on your penis and you're like, whoa?
Okay, maybe not that, but I'm sure that there are other ways. So like in the same way that when I'm out in nature, I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing, because this rock peak looks like such and such or whatever, right? Like you could look at the same thing and you're like, it's just rocks, bitch. So like different things
Do different
enlighten different people.
Yeah, I think you're making a generalization.
things. All right, I'll shut
That's
up,
all.
man.
And different things bring awareness to different things.
I
for
agree,
you
Right.
Sauce.
personally.
I agree,
Yeah.
100.
And
That's
it's-
what she said.
It's relative.
Yeah, that's all
It's,
I thought
it's
she was
relative,
saying.
right? Like I was already on this journey,
Got it.
and
I
when it
didn't hear
happened,
that.
I was like, oh, what have I been missing?
Courtney, I apologize. I didn't hear that.
So
I
real
accept your
quick,
apology.
Timestamp that shit.
no, we not. We'll keep it in, man.
I thought it was
So
a good
Naked and
conversation.
Afraid. Are we gonna
Hell
see you on
no.
that?
Hell no.
You wouldn't
Why
do
not?
Naked and Afraid?
Yo, okay, so for everyone listening,
Ding-
Naked and Afraid reached out. One of the casting
Oh.
directors reached out. Naked and Afraid
The
reached
show.
out
I'm
and
not
was
listening.
like,
I said,
go.
oh.
I'm sorry.
Oh.
Go.
I said, oh.
they had reached out and was like, hey, so and so, a fellow Black adventurer sent me to you, and I was curious if you would be interested. And I'm like, ma'am, I am a Black woman. I do not need to be afraid on national television and naked. Like, first off, I don't want to be naked and afraid. Those two things
Don't go together.
No.
But hey, look at it this way. Like you would, that would kind of fit into your mold of like
Absolutely not.
breaking the stereotype.
not.
Like you
I
could
do
put
not
that
need my
weight on your
titties
shoulders. Like
on national television.
I would definitely tune
and
in.
then being like, oh my God, how do I survive? Absolutely not. I would murder someone.
man, they be getting eaten up by gnats and shit. And
I'm
like,
a very
definitely wouldn't
emotional
go.
person.
But you're in
they be biting
Alaska.
them. Yeah.
Okay,
There's bears out
time
there
out.
too.
We're gonna go back to that history in a second.
Yeah.
But I'm a very emotional person, and when I cannot control a situation and I don't have time to remove myself from the situation, I will freak the fuck out. And I do not need to die my titties out on national television.
But that's a
That's
good point,
not
though.
But they
appropriate.
blur them.
But there's bears out
But
there,
still.
and you just said you be out there screaming to the top of your lungs.
Oh, I don't. I've actually never screamed to the top of my lungs. I just say that in society it's not appropriate.
I got you. Okay.
But
as a
to build on that, do you know the proper protocols? Like if you're encounter wild animals and things like that, are you like?
for the most part, yeah.
That's dope.
For the most part, yeah. But also, like, so when it comes to adventuring, it's a matter of like always be aware of your surroundings. Like, is there poop? Is there animal poop anywhere? Are there
Nice.
tracks anywhere? So, like, for instance, a fellow adventurer and I met up in Texas, and we camped the first night. Shout out to Angel Excursions.
Yeah.
Angie, hey girl. And so we were kind of like exploring the area, and we noticed
Cat
this
prints.
really interesting like poop and like really interesting like tracks, and we were like, it can't be deer, and it's probably not. So we were like going through the list of what it possibly could be, and we still.
So
never
did you
really
dig
figured
into the pooping?
it out. Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
I'm teasing.
Okay, so here's the
Yeah.
thing. I previous to 2016,
Mm-hmm.
I was an active believer of one, Black people do not do adventurous things. I grew up in Alaska believing Black people don't do adventurous things. And 2, I ain't doing outside shit. I'm not getting dirty.
Yeah, that's me.
And like, so like previous to my exposure and experience of the outdoors, I was not the one.
Right.
I was not the one.
So 2016 is when you really start engaging and changing that.
So here's the history.
Okay.
I was going through a breakup, and one of my really good friends, Faal, shout out to Faal. He's super adventurous and outdoorsman, and he was like, my family and I are going camping. You're more than welcome to come. I was going through a breakup at the time. And so I was like, you know what? Let me just get my ass out to like just distract myself, right? Yeah. And like hopefully this isn't a weekend when I run into this nigga, right? So, so I go camping with him, and we go to the San Juan Mountains, and I'm like, bitch, this is in my backyard.
Yeah, I'm
what
tripping.
the
Where I've been.
fuck?
I've been tripping.
No, absolutely.
Like, and it complete 180. Complete 180.
So
you got addicted.
I mean, I was just like, I need this.
Yeah.
This is healing. It's liberation. It's peace. Like, there's so much here that I need to be immersed in.
This
so was
podcast,
it like, were you doing
bussin'.
like extreme stuff, or were you just like, hey, I'm just out here enjoying
Just out
nature?
here.
Okay, so
Yeah,
it wasn't like crazy extreme hikes, whitewater rafting.
No.
I'm just
we
out
just
here.
we camped for 2 nights, and it just the peace of nature was just amazing.
But like San Juan, for context, that's in Colorado.
Yeah, so I 4.5 hours away maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
It's
but I was like,
beautiful
this is our backyard. This is my backyard. Why have I not been here before?
Yeah.
And what's stopping me?
No, it's funny you say that because so the stereotype, right, of like, you know,
don't do
Black
that.
people, we don't do that shit, right? And sometimes we get, for whatever reason, we get wrapped up in it because I'm like you.
I can talk about those reasons.
Let's get into it. Because for me, I didn't even start going snowboarding, hiking, whitewater rafting until I was like well over 25.
Right,
you know what I mean?
right.
So talk a little bit about
So the
that.
education behind, back up. So that was 2016. 2018, I was, a friend had asked if I wanted to go to do a road trip with them to California. And there was a stop along the way in Utah.
From Colorado.
Yep. And I was looking at a cabin in Utah, and I was like, hey, how about this spot or whatever? And he was like, you know, the normal response of, hell no, we don't do that. I'm not trying to die.
That's white people shit.
That's white people shit, right?
Yeah.
And it was like a light bulb of like, who started that? Where did this come from? And why is this a thing? And so in doing my research, there are 3 reasons. So segregation and Jim Crow laws, and just general slavery, right? Yeah. But segregation and Jim Crow laws. So national parks were segregated until literally 1964.
Wow.
Literally.
Wow.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes. Redlining. So the legal ways of real estate where you literally could not integrate into this white neighborhood. And these white neighborhoods were often in the more desirable places that were closer to nature. So that's proximity. And then a lot of these activities were white facing. And so you didn't see anyone who looked like you. So all these reasons backed up the idea that Black people don't do these things. So the lack of information, the lack of access, and the lack of representation created the stigma around also the very valid reality of safety.
Wow.
Created the stereotype and the narrative that we don't do these things. But the truth is that historically there have been Black folks, not in high numbers, but there have been Black folks throughout history that have made huge movements in the outdoors. Yep. And that's a part of my We've Been Out Here podcast. Absolutely. Because I realized in this summer, so Outdoor Retailers is based here, and it's the country's largest business to business outdoor industry focused convention.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And in it, I met so many Black folks who were doing the things like for generations. Not generations, excuse me. For decades.
Decades.
For decades. And then they're telling stories of those generations before us who have been doing the things that, why don't I know their name? Why don't I know your name? Phil Henderson, he is leading the first all Black group to Everest, to climb Mount Everest.
Now you pod.
This podcast, bussin'.
The way I met him at Outdoor Retailer, I didn't even know it, was at a happy hour that was dedicated to him. And I saw him and I was like, you look like someone I should know. What's your name?
Nice. Yeah.
But the fact that like I was at a thing, I mean, I was there early.
Right.
And I should have known his name. The fact that we do not know the names of the Black folks who have been doing the things that if they were white,
they've been glorified.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
If they were white, we would know their names. Or at least if you were in the outdoor industry, you would be familiar with their accomplishments.
Yeah.
I went to the Arctic Circle this summer.
We got to talk about that too.
Yeah. So shout out to Chad Brown. He has
Chad from here?
No.
Okay.
Chad Brown from Oregon.
Got it.
He has two organizations, originally Soul River Inc., but we were the first group for Love is King, Rome Expeditions, and it brings Black folks to the Arctic Circle.
Listen to them names.
Yeah.
Like
Very
Soul
intentional.
River. Like, we going to go to Soul River.
Right.
We going to go to the
Right.
Soul River.
Soul River. It ain't no river. Like, we on
And what's
ice.
the other one? What's the other one?
Love is King.
I'm
Love
going
is
to the
King,
Love
Rome
of King
Expedition.
Yeah,
expedition.
that's
Yes,
dope.
I'm going.
That is dope.
So we were a part of the first group, and in that group, there was also Dudley Edmondson. He is a Black landscape photographer who is also an author.
Is he based out of where?
No, he is based out of Minnesota.
Okay.
This man has been doing this for 30 years.
Wow. Okay.
I literally had no idea who he was until I met him this summer.
Wow.
And so the point of the We've Been Out Here podcast is to share the stories of the Black folks beyond what has become trendy.
Who've been out here?
Yeah, who have been out here. You know, Instagram has made the outdoors trendy, which is incredible. I think when I had said that, or I posted it, there were some Black folks who took it as like, oh, let me not do that voice.
How
I'm
they
so
sound?
sorry.
How
I'm
they
so
sound?
sorry.
How they sound? Say how they sound.
No.
Yeah.
Who were offended. They were like, well, I've been out here. But I'm like, that's not, I can't help
Yeah,
your voice so
fucking
bad.
brunch.
That's pretty good.
That
Well,
fucking
no.
brunch sipping from some sipping.
No,
Yeah,
like-
sipping mimosas.
That's been we out
We
here.
out
No,
here.
the Black folks who have been doing the thing, but feel like they've been doing it since, you know, they took offense to my,
Being all snotty, right?
right.
Right.
So,
We're trying to bring us in here.
right.
Yeah.
So there are so many of us who have been doing the things actively. And the great thing about Instagram and social media is it allows you to connect to more of the community.
So it's exposure.
I am so glad you said that because I think that's kind of what
Bussin'.
for us, because we talk about old Denver and the neighborhoods, and now we are kind of reconnecting with those people from
Right.
those neighborhoods that have been displaced for whatever reason, and it has
Gentrification.
formulated
let's,
on
Let's say
yeah, absolutely.
white folk.
And now it's happening online. Like that's how we get together and kind of create
Right.
this community.
Right.
Sorry. Continue.
No, I mean, well, and what I was saying earlier, like, you know, I was in Denver for 10 years. And one of the reasons why I've left, so I officially moved in August, October.
But you're a nomad.
Well, yes, but I
Home without a
left
home.
in October and was like, I'm never living here again. But
The
because-
moment.
bad.
The moment.
Yeah, well, I mean, again, like I've been here 10 years, and
Yeah.
and I saw it become what it's become. from what it was. And like, I mean, honestly, I felt, because it was such like a major part of my
journey
enjoyment,
was
when essentially the Larimer block, 27th and Larimer block, became obviously gentrified.
Yes.
And I just was like,
enough is
we
enough.
were just there the other day.
Yeah. So, you know, for me though, I still love Denver. It was a home to me. It nourished me. The Unpopular Black wouldn't be if it wasn't for Denver.
So I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Being Black in the Arctic Circle, you went there, right?
I did.
Let's talk about it.
Oh my God.
Like, that's like exploratory shit
that
people don't talk about.
That's like along the lines of Matthew Henson, you know, doing things like that.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Man, it was okay, well, so for me,
what time of year?
We went in July.
Okay.
So for me, it was also different because I was the only one who was also from Alaska.
Okay.
And so I'm already attached to the land of Alaska, right? Like I'm
Yep.
already Alaska's home. And just the reality that like, okay, so we went to the Arctic Ocean. I definitely skinny dipped in that bitch. Because when has the Arctic
did you
Ocean
dive
ever-
in or did you do a front flip?
Oh no. It was like so shallow.
Oh, it was?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Like
Because of the
I
ice?
no. So in the summertime, like it was like sunny and beautiful. It was like 70 degrees. It was beautiful.
But that's still, there's that ice. That's
No.
why I was curious. Okay, go ahead.
No. I mean, so like we're at the tip of Alaska, right?
Yeah.
Right.
We weren't that deep into the Arctic Circle, but also I think you're thinking of Antarctica.
No, the Arctic Circle.
Okay, right. So
Yeah.
we're not that deep into the
Okay.
Time out. The Arctic Circle touches in through Alaska.
Yeah.
What geography? I get it.
Okay. Okay. So we were deep into the Arctic Circle.
No,
The
I'm
Arctic
saying I
Ocean is
understand
deep
where
into
she's
the
coming
Arctic
from.
Ocean. There was no
Do
ice
you?
in the
Yeah.
middle of summer.
She's
Yeah.
been there.
So
No, but I'm seeking to understand.
I'm sorry.
right.
Yeah.
And so
My co-hosts are assholes, man.
right.
No,
yeah.
we just
okay,
do
so
our
to
journalism.
To be clear, guys, the Arctic Circle, you can touch the border of the Arctic Circle if you drive 4 hours past Fairbanks, Alaska. I think it's 4 hours. That's like the Arctic Circle sign. We were another 8 hours into that, where we camped. So we camped at the Adigan. We camped past the Adigan Gorge. Anyways, but then you have to go it was like another 8 or 10 hours past that to get to the Arctic Ocean.
Which is north, right?
Mm-hmm.
Was it north?
Yeah.
Good job, man.
No, so you,
Okay, I wasn't sure if you were being facetious.
no. I'm
Okay.
I'm
It's
saying,
hard to tell with him. It's
Right.
very hard
I
to
was
tell.
like,
what are you talking? I'm
The
asking,
Arctic is
this
in the north.
right.
So during
No,
that-
no. We're not done with my question,
Wait,
man.
all I had to
How
say
does
was-
it be?
all I
How
had
is
to-
it to
wait,
be Black
Damien,
in the
hold on.
Arctic Circle?
Well, yeah. So
She's getting
the
it.
reason why I was like, I need to skinny dip in the Arctic Circle or in the Arctic Ocean is because I need to be the first Black woman that this Arctic Ocean's touched the buns of.
Yeah.
I like that.
I need to be up in here,
Taste that.
touch the buns of this Black
I
woman.
was just giving a round of applause.
It's real.
No,
Yeah.
it's good. I'm talking about him.
Oh,
So
are you all right, man?
timestamp. Timestamp.
yeah,
Wait,
yeah. We'll timestamp
no,
that.
real talk, dude. I'm just trying to have a conversation, dude. I asked a legit question
Yeah,
on how,
absolutely.
like, what was it like to be Black in the Arctic Circle? And y'all looked at me like
But
I'm
mind you,
fucking.
I didn't say
I was with
anything.
a Black group. They
Yeah,
were.
you were, but they didn't know that. That's why I
Yeah.
asked the
Don't
question.
point at me.
It was beautiful. It was
No, I
so.
knew
It was
that.
so incredible to be.
Well, why did
with-
you look at me like I'm fucking stupid?
Oh, because you were pointing in directions and saying it was north.
I
So
love
you
it.
were going north.
All right, let's bring
North
it back.
of
All
Alaska.
right, so
Yeah.
Bring it back.
I'm just curious because I know like Alaska has like the weird sun. Like,
Yeah.
Was it? Was,
Insomnia.
So I was.
can I finish? This is what you do to me.
It's a Wednesday.
My goodness. So like when you were there, was it like the 3 months of night or 3 months of daylight or anything? Was it weird like that?
Great question, Mike.
Again,
Thank you.
Keep in mind,
Geography.
I'm from here, right? And so in the summertime, and I'll send you guys the video if you guys want to use it. Of I don't know if it's normal or not, but like 2-3 o'clock in the morning, I have to pee. So I get up out of my tent to go pee, and it's so in the middle of summer. So June, July, into the beginning of August. The sun technically sets, but it looks like dusk until it rises again. Mm-hmm. So it'll be 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Bright as shit.
Mm-hmm.
Bright.
Wow.
Bright as fuck.
Sun's out, buns out.
Sun's out, buns out, literally.
Word.
So like when we were there, and also like the Arctic Circle is like the tippity top of Alaska. So I'm experiencing.
Wait, is it north?
Oh!
Yeah.
Is it north? Is it north? Well, no, I was just asking a question. Is it north of Alaska?
Okay.
Geography.
All right.
Thank you.
The Arctic
All right.
Circle in Alaska.
Right. Okay, so finish up.
So I'm like at the tippity top of, geographically of Alaska.
Yeah.
And so, like, I get out of my tent, and I think it was, we had also super random. We had like a little bit of cell service out there. It was wild.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was
Oh,
wild.
well, you got to if you're
Hey.
posting pictures. Well, you're talking about all the Arctic.
Oh,
My
yeah,
bad.
yeah.
My bad.
So,
You had
so
service.
I don't know if I Googled it or what, but come to find out, like that morning, night, whatever the fuck, there's only 30 minutes of that the sun had quote unquote set. The sun had only set for 30 minutes on that day.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
But
But
so-
it was bright the whole time.
Were
Like,
you able
it
to
was like
record
dusk.
it, though?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's
I'm
what-
going to send to you
Got
guys
it.
if you
Okay.
guys want to post it.
Absolutely.
And use this clip as.
So Courtney,
Yeah.
when I asked you about insomnia,
Oh.
what?
Nah, man, you just cover your eyes.
No. When I asked you about insomnia, it's because it's bright outside,
You
right?
just cover your eyes.
Yeah, and it doesn't get. And there was a movie about this.
Yes, with Al Pacino.
Yeah, and then
Oh, I missed it.
Oh,
yeah,
no.
Yeah.
Hey, you shot an air ball, bro.
Yeah, Al Pacino
Really?
stays. I think
Don't make me
I
bust
think it's
your
with him and
biscuit,
Robin.
boy. I'll bust your biscuit.
Okay, James.
I think it's with him and Robin
All right.
Williams. Like Robin Williams is like a murderer or something, and he's in Alaska during this time where it's like
Oh.
2-3 months of daylight, and he can't sleep
Yes.
at all because it's daylight.
Have you seen that
Daylight.
movie?
I have not. I have no idea what that is.
So-
But that's
No,
what
got it.
Damien's
Thank you.
referring. I'm trying to land his plane for him. But anyway,
Damn.
Bust his biscuit, man.
I got you back.
Okay, James.
I'm gonna
I
crack your
appreciate it.
muffin,
So
man.
what's the
Crack your
the
muffin wide
adventurer,
open.
Okay, James.
like kind of the adventurer
Okay.
starter pack? Like, so for
Oh,
example,
that's a
for
great question.
novice, for an extreme novice like myself, if I was to go to the Arctic Circle.
First off, don't. Why would you?
Okay.
Do that?
No, because I have friends that like to do the extreme shit.
Yeah.
Like they don't like I don't have they don't do like the slow build. Like
But do they do
what-
extreme
which
shit
friends
with
are
a
these?
time out? Do they do an extreme shit with like a tour, like with a
Yeah,
guide? Because
define
if you do
that.
it with a guide, most likely you're able to just show up and they'll tell you what you need, and you can be a beginner.
No, I'm saying like extreme stuff like how I told you how like my first experience with hiking, I did a 14er.
Yeah.
So like
That's so rude of them.
I
That
don't
is
have
so
friends like to
rude.
do the small shit.
That was KC.
They
and
don't like to
Lucinda.
do the gradual shit. It's like if we gonna do it, we gonna go all the way.
Yeah,
so
because
like,
we've been
But
outside.
also, you're exposed. The fact that you get people to push you like that is great as well.
yeah, or instead of going to hunt a deer or something, it's like yo, let's go do the big 5.
Hey, but real quick,
It's
Cole.
like it's serious about the shit.
Explain your experience when you did your 14er. I think that is
Oh,
hilarious.
man. Oh,
like,
man. So-
take us from beginning to end, like
Well, I
how
think
that started.
Well, I mean, I think
And
first
Sauce, what is a 14er for the
Oh
listeners?
yeah, let's go into that.
a 14,000. Was it 1,400?
14,000 feet
14,000 feet
elevation
in the air,
on a
elevation.
hike.
So man, we had to. So our boy Kareem, who was on the show a couple shows ago, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
He comes into town. He says, "Hey fellas, let's go walking. I mean hiking. Okay, let's go hiking." And I think Kareem's a lot like you in terms of when we were young. I didn't think Kareem was very outdoorsy, but then as we became adults, he became this outdoorsy type of guy, right? So he's like, yeah, let's go hike this 14er. I'm like, all right, let's do it. Like, you know, when you're friends, you just want to bond with your guys, right? So when they say 14er, I don't really know what a 14er is. I'm like, yeah, I'm down. So I think our first mistake was, let you know we novices. So I have a truck, right? Mm-hmm. We rode in my boy's Audi.
Car? Like sedan?
Yes. Sedan, no, coupe, damn near.
Like
we're talking about like an A. We're talking about an A what? A
so
what?
Yeah, like
an
A4.
A4. So okay, so you're following me, right?
I'm following.
So we take an A4 up there. We get the terrain is so like rocky.
Yeah.
We could only get we had to park maybe a mile and a half from the trailhead. So we parked a mile and a half from the trailhead, and the walk is straight up.
Yeah.
So it took us a mile and a half just to get to the start of the hike.
I would be so mad, like livid.
So look, I'm
like,
tired.
you know what? I'll meet y'all back at the car. I'm just gonna wait at the car until y'all are done.
I am tired, right?
Absolutely.
And then already, like, you have this pressure on you because you're like, yo, we gotta leave at 4:30. Mm-hmm. We gotta get there at 6 o'clock. We gotta start early because at 3 o'clock when these clouds roll in, you don't want to get caught up there. So we go ahead and start walking. So we get to the trailhead. We start walking.
What kind of shoes you got on?
Nikes.
No.
Not
No.
Not those.
I just told you.
Not those.
I thought you had your butter.
See, you think you know something.
I thought he had his butter Timbs on.
He did say he had these for looks. He bought these for looks.
I bought these for looks.
And just so happened to be wearing them for the hike.
Fam, he had his butter Timbs on and a sag.
With some Docker shorts on.
Yeah. Shout out. Hey.
With a sag.
Yeah. Hey, with a fanny pack. Talking about I got my my little granola bars to help
his
me.
Cliff Bars.
My Cliff Bars.
Chocolate and peanut butter.
Yeah.
You got a fanny pack on now, David.
Man, what are we talking about?
Anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway, I had my Oslo that I bought for looks. But shout out to
That's funny.
Courtney, I'm sorry.
Man, yo,
you shut it down with that one.
To my
Courtney,
to my,
stop.
What you
No, let him finish, man. Let him finish.
Shut it down with that one and said I have a fanny pack on now.
I had hiking shoes.
Yep.
And the cool thing about Kareem is a planner. So Kareem gave us a whole list of everything we need to take.
Good.
So
Got
yes, check on
So
Cliff
he
Bars.
prepared you.
Yeah, so yes, check
Gel
on Cliff
pack,
Bars.
Gel pack,
Water.
Check
water.
on water.
Yeah.
Check on toilet paper.
Except for that
Okay.
mile and a
Wet
half
wipes.
hike you had to
Except
take.
for the
Wet
mile and a half hike.
In
So-
the A1.
So we're going, and I told him, I said, hey, y'all can just leave me.
Absolutely.
They were walking so fast. I said, you know what? Y'all could just leave me, and I would just walk by myself.
Right.
And I was literally in solitude for it took me 7.5 hours to go up and down. So I was in solitude by myself for about 4 or 5 hours.
But you made it to the top, right?
Made it to the top. Struggle coming down. I shut it down at the trailhead.
So hold up, you waited for him at the top of the mountain for 2 hours?
No, I caught them coming. They were coming down.
Oh,
I
you
was
were still going up. Gotcha.
They were coming down.
Man.
Oh, okay.
So I
Gotcha.
did that whole. It was like a check-in. So as I'm going up, they're coming down. It's a brief check-in. I finish. I come back down by myself.
Yeah.
And the cool thing about it is, as you're walking up the trail, like I'm not with my group, but there's people just gathered around doing it. And when I finally got back, right
To the bottom.
to the trailhead, I said, I'm not walking no more. I said, there's no way I could make. I was like, dude, there's no way I can make it a mile and a half back to his car.
What was the mileage from the trailhead?
It's like
Up and
7-8 miles, right?
Yeah.
Round trip.
It's about that.
For that 14er.
Yeah, it's about that. And
Round trip. Okay, yeah.
It is so funny. It was these two older white women who were getting in their truck at the trailhead. And I went to them and had to say, look, I
Will you
just
take
got
me
off
down?
this mountain.
Yep.
I am not gonna hurt nobody. I can't make it back
Yep.
to my boy's car.
So wait, did you have to get in the back of
You
the
got to
cabin?
ride.
Were you like in the pickup the cabin?
Hey man, no. So they had a like a Forerunner or something.
Oh, okay. All right.
I sat right there, tucked myself in the corner. I made sure everything was visible. My hand, look. They drove me down to the car, and that's where I linked up with them, man. But I again, like the starter pack. Like, so what should I take? Let's say, because I can see myself falling into this because I just enjoy the time with my friends.
Mm-hmm.
So I could totally see my boy saying, "Yeah, let's go to the fucking Antarctic Circle and
The Arctic Circle.
Arctic. That's
Arctic
the difference.
Circle.
That's the difference.
Let's go to the Arctic Circle and let's
North of Alaska.
let's go there."
Yeah.
What do I need to take?
I mean, every adventure, it depends. But so like,
Compass,
No.
you have your phone.
okay.
You have a compass on your phone.
Altimeter.
No,
what?
You need a
Tell 'em what an
drill
altimeter
to fish.
I'm asking you.
No,
I
you
don't.
don't know
don't.
what
It was
that is,
there was
Cole.
no at that point in the middle of July. There was no ice. There was no snow.
He keeps
It
asking
was
you that.
absolutely.
I think he keeps
beautiful.
hearing Arctic and just thinks
He just think it's cold
He
all
just
the
No,
time.
cold
but
as hell.
if there was ice, you would need a drill to fish, right?
Yeah, but also like if you needed to fish, or you could just pack in your meals.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like we fished, but we didn't catch anything. We weren't reliant on catching anything.
So
Got
what do
it.
I take?
So like you know what to take for hiking, right? If you're going camping, and you're like base camping where you're not backpacking in. I mean, like this is all. So think of camping as an extension of hiking, right? So you
Okay.
need your, the things that you need to. Oftentimes, people forget to look ahead at the weather in the area during that timeline, right? And then planning accordingly. So like, and then also worst case scenario it, right? So like Arctic Circle, although it was July and it happened to be in the 70s, it also could have
It gets cold at night, I imagine.
I mean,
right?
actually it didn't get
Not too cold?
not too cold. Unfortunately, it was like actually really fucking hot.
Oh, wow.
But it can get cold.
It can get cold. It can turn cold really quickly, right? So we had 0-degree weather, sleeping bags, and tents. Rainproof tents.
Okay.
Or excuse me, weatherproof tents. So waterproof, windproof, all the things. You need your meals.
Okay.
So plan for your meals. And there's a lot of like dehydrated, delicious meal kits.
But can you take a USA Polo, heavy coat out there to head of them extreme?
hey, so you need a North Face up in there.
What would have been that took a goddamn USA Polo
Hey,
coat?
I told you, man. Butter Tims,
Right. You
puffy
better,
coat, triple
Right.
fat down.
well, you better buckle down and buy
Courtney.
you a Patagonia.
Courtney, this boy would have been with a beat all odd shirt.
Actually, you know what? Hold on. Time out. So one thing that I think is so important, especially for Black folks,
funny.
you don't need to invest in expensive stuff when you're first getting started, right?
Okay.
So let me do a little schooling real quick.
Wait, real quick. So, yeah, and I'm going to let you get to that. Like, just give us the most important thing, because what I heard is, like, you need to be dry.
Yep.
You need to be dry. You need to have food. You need to have water or access to water. So for instance, what were those water bottles called? We had water bottles. Essentially, they cleaned any version of water.
They filter it.
Yeah, they filter it. Damn, I really forgot. But incredible. So we didn't have to pack water with us.
Okay.
We just
Wow.
went to the stream, filled it, and then filtered it.
Dope.
Yeah.
Could you do it with the ocean too, with the salt water?
Oh, I don't know.
Okay.
No,
I don't think
no,
so.
It,
No,
it had to be
there's
fresh
filters
water.
out there like that.
know they're probably-
It had to be
Yeah.
fresh water, and
Got
and
know if you do that,
preferably a
bro.
version of like river something running.
Yeah.
You know.
Got it.
But so water, food, keep you dry.
Yep.
And
Got it.
warm.
Yeah. So that's what. So real quick, when it comes to, very minimal. Let's talk about layering.
Yep.
Like bulk layering does not fucking work. And that was one reason why I believe that like black folks growing up, we didn't do the things, because like I would put on layers and layers and layers of like cotton hoodies and right?
Should get wet, it's over.
It's over. So base layer, which is your first layer, should be either polyester or wool.
So like spandex or no?
So like polyester spandex works. Yes, absolutely. And that's where they should be like tight to the body, because they polyester and wool is moisture wicking, but it also keeps the heat in. The mid layer could be thicker, so that's where like if you put on a fleece or a thicker layer of wool or even like polyester pants. And then the top layer is the weather and waterproof. So the top layer,
like Gore-Tex type of material.
It doesn't even necessarily
or Teflon,
have to be.
I guess, or
No. Gore-Tex is correct.
Is that okay?
Yeah, Gore-Tex is correct. But like if you're not planning on getting, like if you're just going on a hike in the wintertime, you don't necessarily need Gore-Tex unless you're planning on walking in like a blizzard or somehow falling in. Like Gore-Tex is like the waterproof of waterproof. Yeah. Wow. So like one of my pair of go-to pants, it's for top layer is fleece lined weatherproof. So they're not waterproof, but unless I'm like sitting in the snow for an extended amount of time, I don't notice. Okay. And also if you're active, which most people are, when you're having these layers on, if you're active, you're going to warm up and probably end up taking off that top layer anyways. Got it. But the thing is that like, especially with black folks, it's really important. Comfort is key, because as soon as you're doing something uncomfortable and you get cold and or wet, you're no longer down for the shits, right? Yeah. And so it's a matter of like, how do I at least be comfortable to look forward to having a good time?
Gotcha. So I have a question. We all know extremities is the most important thing. Your fingers and your toes. What's good hand gear and feet wear for the Arctic?
I mean, you guys keep on bringing up the damn Arctic.
No, but like,
that's
again, I went in July. And
I know, but like, let's just say you went there and it's not July.
You're not going there. Like in the wintertime, you're not going there. You're not casually.
But people do.
Yeah. As an expedition, you're not casually going to the Arctic.
And beginners are.
You're not casually going.
All right.
You're literally not casually going. Like you have to go with a guide in the wintertime. Like you literally wouldn't survive. Yeah. It's like negative 60 degrees. Negative 60 degrees. You're not going casually to the Arctic Circle in the middle of winter.
Got it. So my question is,
to be clear.
Oh, got it.
But to enjoy winter activities, your extremities, right? So I go with wool socks. So REI or Smart Wool are my go-to. And then for gloves, I have gloves. They're like gloves / mittens. So they look like mittens, but the mitten part comes off. So I have my fingers to like fix anything if I need, but then I can put the mitten part back over and it keeps my hands warm during.
Love it.
Yeah. Do you do like the hand warmers?
Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. They're definitely effective, but sometimes they end up being
a crutch or something like.
Not a crutch, but just like wearing my hand warmers, right? So like if you're using your hands or whatever, like you're having to keep track of your hand warmers.
Got it.
But again, if you're active, you're pretty warm. You're usually pretty warm when you're active, whether it's a hike, whether you're snowshoeing, whatever. Like, okay, so the group of folks that I'm bringing to the steamboat this weekend, the list of activities at the ranch is horseback riding, cross-country skiing, archery.
Nice.
And so, like, we'll be active.
Hot springs?
No hot springs.
Strawberries.
So Strawberry Springs, oh my gosh, Strawberry Springs is amazing.
Yeah.
But you have
What's the
their reservation system right now.
Oh, they do?
Mm-hmm. Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Well, next time you have these adventures, I'm definitely coming.
Yeah,
so this is technically a job. They hired me, and I was like, who can I bring to
Oh,
this adventures?
got it.
And they hired me for like they're doing like Black folks campaign. I was like, well, I have some Black friends who are adventurers that would like to be. So the ranch is an all-inclusive.
Oof,
It's
that
super
sounds
fancy.
Nice.
And so I was
Well, maybe you should like get it together and like, poll and be like, hey,
you
who
get
wants
it
to?
together. I'm kidding.
But no, I mean, like,
we need to
do
get it together.
Yeah, well, yeah, I'm not gonna. I mean, I don't know the
I'm kidding, I was
outdoor,
kidding, I was
so
kidding.
like, I was like giving you some business to be like, yo, let's get together and let's do these amazing things without you being hired, like you're facilitating.
No,
it.
absolutely. Well, so I was doing organized group adventures.
Mhm.
Like, I don't know if you guys saw my Idaho. The Idaho was the most popular one, and it was incredible. But I had a really interesting situation happen where a woman was really disputing me over $30 refund. And it made me realize that I do not want to be vulnerable to entitled people.
Yeah.
Got it.
Like, if you do not value my time and value what I do,
You don't want to put up with that. You don't have the energy for
and
it.
also, like, this is my business.
Yeah,
I do not want my business vulnerable to you kind of people.
Yeah.
absolutely.
And go ahead.
I was gonna say, so when you're doing these packages, like, whether it's Steamboat or New Mexico, whatever, is it real extreme, or is it just more or less pick your own adventure while you're here?
So what I now offer is I offer adventure itineraries. So 1, 3, or 5 day itineraries, to where essentially you buy the itinerary and I send you a questionnaire, and the questionnaire identifies what level of adventure you want to do, what area do you want to experience, and what are you looking forward to doing. And then I create an itinerary around that for you, whether it's you're going solo, whether you're going with friends, whatever it is, you now have this itinerary to navigate through this terrain and landscape in whatever comfort level that you have identified. So
cool.
if you're like, I want to do the close proximity to adventure things, but I want to like glamp, then it's like
Wait. So glamp. Okay, let's talk about that. Like, what is glamp?
glamp is glamorous camping. It's become
So they out there with charcuterie boards.
Well, no. So the
like
glamorous.
mimosas.
Well, so the
That's some
glamorous
bullshit.
camping, but it's not. But it's not. I mean, so at the end of the day, it's a matter
That's my
of
package.
proximity to. Was that you who said that?
That was
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Right
me.
The proximity to nature, right? So in my version of glamping that I've experienced, it was in Cortez, Colorado, and it's a canvas tent. It's this big ass canvas tent, but it has a wood foundation. It has a full bed. It had a bed, and it had certain luxuries, but also then you're still in nature. Like, we were in the middle of fucking.
So
I
for
wanna
me-
be outside. I want to be outside, but not really.
So
Right.
let me ask you then, because I've
I want a motorhome.
I've done like
so
night.
you said glamp. That's kind of what I was thinking. Like,
Yeah, so like motorhome,
Oh.
cabin,
Yeah.
a memory foam bed in a canvas tent.
cable, internet access.
No.
A plug-in
No,
for my
yes,
I'm saying,
CPAP.
like, you say
But, like-
glamp. I'm thinking like people
That's
that just want to
important. That's important.
just be able to have a full setup, right, and be
And
able to
they're
walk a
in
couple
nature,
feet, and then they
literally.
can front like they really out there.
There you
So
go.
Oh, that's not
I have
outdoors.
I have an issue. I mean, it technically is, and that's how like a lot of people have their proximity to nature. But if you're still accessing, TV and cable and all that, you're not.
Yeah.
The point of immersing yourself into nature is to
Get away from the IG, fam.
it's
Get off the grid.
literally an experience. So to me, the point of the Unpopular Black is nature heals you. It
Thank you
heals
for
your-
bringing it home.
It heals your soul.
podcast,
It heals you mentally, physically, emotionally, and Black people need it.
Because it's
That's cool.
quiet, and then like you're literally in that space where you're literally connected.
You know
Literally
what, Co?
connected.
I think you all should do this because my wife took me night snowshoeing
Yeah.
and being on the lake and things like that, and just
Especially
looking
if
at
it's
the
a full
stars.
moon.
It's nice, and I mean it's not too much involved. You know, you got your snowshoes on, but it's not like it's mild on like the spectrum
It
of
is.
like things
I'm
that
not
you
going
can
with
do.
Kareem and Wasinda. I'm not
Yeah.
being set up like
Well, it's
that.
not a hike. It's just like you could go around the lake and then you
Yeah,
get on the
yeah,
frozen
yeah.
lake.
Yeah, see, that's my thing. Like, I like the outdoors, but like, I don't want to do the extreme stuff. Like, I don't want to do a
Absolutely.
14er. It's like I kind of went.
Absolutely.
So like, one thing I want to do. I think it's called Hanging Lake.
Yeah.
See, I would
I've
like
never
to do,
done that.
but like, I mean, I heard that the terrain for that's pretty tough. But there's like, you know, there's a
Something
pot of
beautiful at the
gold at
end.
the end
Yep.
of the rainbow. Yeah.
Yep.
That's me. Like,
Yeah.
I need, If
Same.
Yeah.
Like, what is the destination? Because if it ain't worth it, I don't want to do it.
What did
Yeah.
you call yourself? Like you there was a name for that when we were talking before. Like
I'm a lazy adventurer.
lazy adventure.
Yeah, that's me.
I'm a
Yeah.
lazy
Yeah, yeah.
adventurer.
Yeah.
Like, I will do the extreme things, but the end result has to be worth it. So
Yeah.
like, okay, so Conundrum Hot Springs is like a Colorado staple for hot springs.
Really?
And yeah, it is. And I felt like it was, before I left Colorado, I had to do Conundrum. It's a 20-mile round trip. And it's funny. So like I was talking about it. This is like 2020. I was talking about it about like, oh, I need to do it, but like, eh. And then 2 weeks later, I heard that it was on permit only in order to camp there. Shortly after that, there was a call to action of this woman. She was like, I have a permit to camp and I would love to. She was a white woman. Shout out to Jenna. Shout out to Base Camp. She was like, I would like to bring a person of color on this trip. And I was like, fuck. Well, and, I mean,
me.
but that's the problem is that like, again, 20 miles round trip.
Yeah.
But I heard about Conundrum. I kept on hearing it was amazing. And so I was like, fuck, I guess I have to do this. I complained the whole way. I fucking
Yeah, dude, that's a
hated
lot.
it.
That sounds like
Courtney,
me.
I
miles,
fucking hated
Where
it.
was it though? Like where?
So it's right outside of not Estes, Aspen. It's right outside of Aspen.
Really?
It's right outside of Aspen. It's Maroon Bells area.
Got it.
So the hot springs, it was cool, but it wasn't worth the trek. Like I've been to incredible hot springs. I've been to hot springs that were like, how the fuck do I move in? This one was
what's
like
so special about it?
about Conundrum.
Yeah, like what's the?
I think
She
that
said
is
there's
just
nothing special about
Yeah.
it.
well. I mean, to me, it wasn't worth the hike. But if you're into doing, motherfuckers who are into 14ers would
Yeah.
love that shit,
Yeah.
right? Because it's 9 miles. Like it's like, or it's 20 miles round trip,
Yeah.
but it's 9 miles in, 9 miles back.
That's a lot.
9 and a
Doing it
half.
for like the workout or
Yeah.
whatever.
That's
Yeah,
a
yeah.
lot.
That's a lot.
And
That's a
and the
lot.
wildest shit, a lot of people do it as a day hike. As a day hike.
Oh, that's
See,
crazy.
yeah, that's too much.
crazy.
That's a
Bitch.
lot.
That's
Yeah.
a lot, man.
So what was the most breathtaking place or view
Great question.
that you've been to?
Okay, so this is really
Are you gonna get emotional?
no.
Oh, okay.
Please
No.
do though.
So this
Please
is
do.
this is kind of fucked up. I've been to so many places that I'm just like they're all the same.
It got to be one though.
You know, Utah is incredible. Utah, like deserts are incredible.
Moab.
Moab's great. So dark sky. So Moab is a dark sky area, and so dark sky areas. I think it's like top 5 in the U.S. Dark sky areas are areas zoned for like you literally cannot have. The town is not allowed to have LED lights for at nighttime.
Wow.
Because it messes with the light pollution. So like in the middle of Moab or anywhere in Moab,
It's like breathtaking.
you can see the Milky Way at any point. But there are many places that I've been that in the middle of the night that I've camped, you look up and you see the Milky Way.
Oh, absolutely.
Man, well, let's switch. So let's shift it. A
Well,
little
no,
bit.
like Courtney,
Let
finish
her
that
finish.
question. That
I
like
think
she
it was good.
didn't answer your question.
No,
Well-
I'm trying to get her there.
Okay.
So I think what I'm trying to say is, where have you been that holds the most sentimental value to you? Because I know it has to be a place. It can't just be. Yeah, I've seen a lot of things and they're all the same. It has to be something that has a personal connection to you as an adventurer that but you're taken to your grave, or you'll talk to your close friends and say, "Yo, that was the spot." And it doesn't have to be because it looks so beautiful. It could be because it connected something personal for me. Like for example, your first trip out.
Right.
I that's memorable. Or or the lame dude that I had issues with and which pushed me to the nature.
Yeah. So what is the sentimental spot for you?
What's that sentimental spot?
Honestly, the same answer. So like Moab was, so for my birthday in 2020, I did a solo camping trip through Colorado. So for me, I love to have like, the way that I'll adventure and wander is I'll have a destination in mind and kind of like a lollygag along the way. And so like I was going to this, a friend of mine had camped at this one canyon, and I was trying to find it and I couldn't find it, so I camped nearby. And there are certain levels of like, especially when you're by yourself and you're in the middle of nowhere or in an unfamiliar space. And I relate this back also to the first time I camped solo and adventured solo, as well as the first time I went nomadic. There's a certain level of, holy shit, I fucking survived.
Nice. Well, talking about survival, I got a question for you. Okay, since you are our adventurous specialist, by default, that makes you our survivalist.
Okay.
We're on a private plane. Everybody here, even the audience, we crash in the Arctic up north.
Y'all niggas in this motherfucking Arctic.
Yeah, it's up north. Who is no food? We run out of food, water. Who's the first person we need to eat?
All right.
Who is that? Who is the first one?
So I'll randomly think about this kind of shit, right? Because there was that movie, right?
Yeah, Alive.
Yeah, there was
There we
that,
go.
right?
Sustain
Right.
Who? No. Out of these people,
Hey.
who is the first one we
No,
gonna
I
dig
mean-
into?
You could slow cook me and it'll be some good food.
You know, I think about that from time to time of like eating human.
You
In terms of,
dodging.
like-
Who's going first?
I don't motherfucking know, man.
Who's
That's
going
just-
first?
I know.
I'm not
Who's going
cooking your
first,
lean
Cole?
ass.
Oh, I ain't got. Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
that cheeks is
Hey,
fat.
hey, you might have a
I'm getting
drumstick.
biscuits.
Yeah, you might have a drumstick.
I'm getting biscuits over here.
Yeah. Hey,
I ain't got no.
everybody's looking at Uncle Damo and like, I'm putting him on the barbecue and I'm cooking him
Dude,
slow.
you gonna put yourself
Right.
on the barbecue.
He's like, damn, we crashed, guys. All right.
Crash.
What is it? I volunteer. Fucking
No,
Katniss,
no. Hey,
everything. I volunteer.
his leg is broken. He can't fight back. We killing his ass.
Yeah, man,
go
that,
for
There we
that-
go.
Like
Stick
Damo,
on.
bite on this belt, man. Take one for the team.
Let me get
Okay.
one rib.
Let me get a rib. Yeah. No.
Go ahead.
So, one of the things. So I want to ask one
Talk
question.
in your
before.
mic, please.
I want to ask one question before.
That's why I bring it over, but he refuses.
Sorry.
My goodness, man.
Look, man,
Talking to the mic.
That's the point, man. But go ahead.
it is, but my voice carries.
It wasn't.
All
though.
right. So we one of the things you talked about before was, like hiking and being alone in a great place, and you talked about being in Moab, which is great. So you said that's one of your top 3 places, right?
Not necessarily top 3 places, but for everyone in Denver, Moab is literally 4 hours away.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Actually, it's about
Not
6.
far.
No, it's not. You
How you
take
Grand
you take-
Junction.
No, you take 70 West, and it's 4.5 max.
Okay.
it is.
I went to school in Utah. I thought it was a little bit further. Fair enough. So the follow-up question I would ask is, when you went to Moab, what was the most incredible thing that you saw?
Oh my god. It was my first time seeing a wild turkey, and that motherfucker was just like traipsing through my campsite. Honestly,
And he didn't mess with you?
no, he was just
'Cause
like, he was
usually they're
just
kinda
super chilling.
furious.
Well, I think because he was
Are they
solo, he
aggressive?
didn't feel bold.
Yeah.
Yeah, those motherfuckers,
Yeah.
they're
They're
assholes.
aggressive.
Yeah, wild turkey.
Yeah.
Tell you
Yeah,
what's up.
yeah, but he was just like, "What's up, man? I'm just I'm just passing through. It was cool. I'd never seen like a wild turkey like that.
Wow.
But I mean, like, so Moab. So there's Arches National Park, and then so people go to Arches, but Dead Horse is a state park that is absolutely incredible, and the canyon is, it can be thought of similar to parts of Grand Canyon.
Yeah.
Especially at sunrise.
Yeah.
But so like, there's also a lot of really incredible off-roading out there. So if you're into that kind of thing, and then you can raft the Colorado River, which I tried to, one of my most recent posts, I talk about when I tried to fucking tackle the Colorado River, paddleboarding that bitch by myself. And I got out there and was like, first off, this is so much deeper and so
dangerous.
much faster. Yeah.
It's
like
fast.
it looked calm and chill, and I get out there and I'm
Especially
paddling.
in the spring, right?
Oh, it was dead
like,
of summer. It was dead of summer.
Yeah.
But I'm like paddling and I'm like,
I guess up
this
to
is
like,
so much, like this is happening so much.
it's like
more than
Cat
I
4.
realized.
Like that could get up to Cat 4,
I was
Cat
like,
5, right?
let me stick to the rivers and the,
Me and my man did the Colorado River rafting.
yeah.
So
He saved my wife's life, actually. I was like paddling away, and then that
Courtney-
forearm and that bicep said, boom, I got you. I was like, right on, wow.
So Courtney, I know you can relate to this. Two of the most beautiful places I've ever been in the United States are the Grand Canyon, number one, and Glacier National Park in Montana. During the first day of summer. Absolutely unbelievable.
Yeah.
So that's why I asked you that question about like Utah.
So I'm gonna give tips. So wherever you decide to explore first, I'm gonna give you my expert tips. Go in the middle of the week.
Okay.
Plan to get wherever you're wanting to get to before sunrise. And preferably off season, spring or fall, because you have less crowds. So I am usually busiest spring and fall in adventuring, and sometimes winter. Especially places, desert places. Like desert still gets cold as fuck, but they're just incredible.
Yep.
So I think I got to my question. Utah is one of your favorite spots.
No.
Oh.
I don't think I have a favorite. So let me just go Southwest. Southwest is one of my favorite spots. Also, oh my fucking God, California.
See, there it is.
California, the state
Where?
of California.
No, the state of California.
From
bottom to
the
top.
northern
Top to
top
bottom, top
to
to
the
bottom.
southern to the southern bottom to the central and the inland. California
might be one
wild.
of the most picturesque places I've seen.
It's so wild, and it has so many terrains. Like it has so many terrains that you can experience. That like.
It's funny you say inland because I used to.
No. Let her finish.
Well, I mean, I was kind of done.
Okay. My
yeah.
bad.
It's funny you say inland because I had a friend that lived in like the Rancho Cucamonga area.
Okay.
And then like those mountains up there, like they're like they have like
Aren't
neighborhoods.
those like desert mountains?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Desert
but
mountains,
the
100%.
clouds sit so low. So it's like you're right, like it literally looks like a postcard when you're riding around there. Man.
It's really wild. There have been times when I've been in LA or Oakland and like, especially the last couple of years and like randomly been like, let's go for a hike or whatever. And you're like going to the trailhead and you're like, why the fuck are we in this neighborhood? And the trailheads are in neighborhoods.
Yeah.
And you're just like,
Yeah.
California is so wild. It's super cool. And it's people don't know it.
Yeah.
Like, to be clear, Black folks don't know it. There's been a time. Okay, so I did a Northern California
knows
adventure. I did a Northern California adventure that was hot springs based, but the first day, these headphones are like really messing with my damn glasses. It makes me feel a little insecure. Anyways, me and my customer, who has now become a friend, we were driving along, and we couldn't, I don't remember why, but we couldn't go to the first day's hot spring. Oh, so random hot springs certain hot springs can get versions of spider mites, and they're not dangerous, they're just gross.
Ew.
They bite you, and it turns into like rashes.
Yeah, we
Ew.
definitely got experience with spider mites in a different way, but that's
Yeah.
a story for another day.
So I found out last minute that hot springs had the spider mites, and so I was like, let's just get to where we're going. And along the way, I saw this spot that was like Natural Bridge, and I was like, screw it. By the way, it's so important to adventure with folks who are open-minded and who are like, if you're like, what's there? They should be like, I
Let's
don't know.
go.
Let's go see. Exactly. And so we go down here, and it's like a hike, and it's literally a cave that you can like swim through to get to the other side.
Mm-hmm.
There was a whole like Hispanic family there that was like vibing and barbecuing,
Oh,
and I was
wow.
like, yo, brown folks really be out here.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Like brown folks really be out there.
My wife, half brown, so and she's the one that kind of gets us out,
Yep.
like
Yep.
camping,
They be out
hiking,
there
all that.
barbecuing randomly, just like,
No, definitely.
yeah.
She was
Sounds
all
like my-
about
But they be in nature.
outdoors.
That shit sounds like my house. Half brown. Like, it's like we barbecue on site.
Absolutely.
What was
Talk
that?
to 'em,
Sounds like
Uncle
my
Damo.
house.
Oh, man, need to go
Yeah.
to Damo.
So
But originally, so Black Lives Matter 5280 reached out to me to do some like, kids things, which I don't really do kids things. I focus more on adults. But my goal is to become community based and focused wherever I go and I have influence, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like, especially places like here, Alaska, wherever I end up next, but like, however I can really be a part of the community, I think it's really important. So
That's a fact.
yeah.
So, the question that we always ask at the end of the day is, you said you had a great time on here. You told us that from the moment you walked in until now. Who else would you recommend to come on the show?
That could physically come and sit in that seat you are.
I mean, what is that based on?
We always back that
It's,
up.
Depends.
it's based on your opinion.
Throw anybody out there.
I don't know.
You got to give us one name.
Just one name.
Have you had like the Vibes in the Park crew up in here?
Who?
No, we haven't.
We
Vibes
haven't.
in the
Who?
park.
Vibes in the Park. So
Vibes in the Park.
So Tiffany will actually be joining on this trip through her boyfriend Adam. But so I
Shut-
know Tiffany.
Shout her out. Everything.
Yeah.
Her
So
IG,
yeah,
stuff,
so
Vibes in the park, like
Vibes,
city,
but yeah,
like
Vibes in
City
the
Park.
Yeah, Vibes in the Park.
Okay.
I mean, they are
I follow them on IG.
incredible.
Yeah.
What they did, I think. I don't think that when they started Vibes in the Park, they had an idea of what it would create. It created such, it was able to really show the power of the community.
Yeah.
The Black community here. So like, are you guys familiar with Black in Denver? Jasmine, Narkita, yeah.
Yep.
So
So that's another person you're shouting out.
well, so she's in New York. She lives in New York now. I think she plans to come back to Denver periodically, and I think she plans to eventually move back to Denver. But Jasmine, really highlighted individual Black folks and perspective of the Black community here. And I think Vibes in the Park really helped to show that we the fuck out here.
Yeah,
That's
and
what
the
I'm
vibe, and the
That's
vibe
right.
was really nice. So
This
like James, I followed it as
podcast,
well,
bussin',
man. People were
bussin'.
coming with elaborate setups, man, to come out and picnic, man.
And also the reality of Black folks aren't monoliths, right? And so there are so many different versions of Black folks out there, right?
This
And, like,
podcast,
just
bussin'.
creating the space for, you know, at the end of the day, there's such a synonymous experience amongst Black folks, whether it's, you know,
Whether you're unpopular.
right. No matter how you grew up or where you grew up, there
this
is
podcast, bussin'.
there's so many things that we have all experienced somehow in the same way, right? We all know the electric slide.
Yeah.
And we all know, you know, like there are certain
2 steps one time.
right.
Right step again.
Like
that was made for you.
It was.
They thought about
With
you.
my bum
we
knee.
all know that
Absolutely.
somehow, right? There are things that we all have proximity to.
Yep.
And Vibes in the Park for Colorado, for the Denver area, really brought that together.
Absolutely.
I
Shout
think
outs
it's so-
to
yeah.
Vibes in the Park.
Shout out.
Absolutely.
This
So-
podcast.
So,
Well,
rhetorical
before you
question,
go,
rhetorical question. What happens when you don't know the cha-cha slide and you're Black?
So we wanted to give you this .podcast t-shirt for spending time with us. We
Hey
really
now.
appreciate you having on us or being on the show. It's late. I'm sorry. So I wanted to give Courtney Tomiko Lanctot a round of applause.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming on.
Hey.
Plug everything you want to plug.
Yes. So you can find me personally at Tater Tot Bot. You can find Tater Tot Bot is very much for if you are about the talking about taboo things. You please follow the Unpopular Black if you are a Black person, whether you're interested in the outdoors or not. Actually, this week I realized through feedback that depending on the person, depending on proximity to awareness, Black folks also interpret the Unpopular Black as a channel for travel as well as a channel for wellness.
Love that.
Dope.
Yeah,
dope.
yeah,
Dope.
which it very much is, you know, but my focus has always been the outdoors, and so it was really great for that feedback to be aware of that. I can also step into these other arenas to really help Black folks in these ways. So the Unpopular Black on Instagram, theunpopularBlack.com. You can find the podcast. We've been out here on Apple, Google, and Spotify, as well as Anchor.
YouTube video.
So YouTube, oh my God.
I
So
saw that.
I think I have to learn Adobe to get the motherfucking video going, because like I want to edit the videos, but because they're so
It's tough.
big, you know, like for my reels and all that,
Yeah.
I edited it through my phone, but because you know these interviews are so long and the files are so big, I haven't been able to find out how to do it for free, and so I think I have to switch to Adobe. But the goal is to have them eventually on YouTube, and the larger goal is to create a docu-series of really showing and highlighting and following Black folks who have been doing these things, and creating beautiful content, showcasing it, because Black folks are beautiful, the outdoors are incredible.
Yeah.
We've been doing these things, and we need to be knowing our names in order to help us really connect back to our roots.
Absolutely.
There it is.
Well, you never stumble upon the unexpected if you only stick to the familiar. We've been outside. We've been out here.
We've been out
So
We up north.
let's
We
do
up
it.
in the
Okay,
Arctic
bye.
Circle.
We up north.
Yeah.